say Dave Prazak helped them out. Dave Prazak from Shimmer fame does commentary now for GCW, a lot of commentary, but behind the scenes, he was always handing our tapes out. Did a lot for me as well. But he got Punk and Cabana around, so they would take their match in different variations, of course. They didn't do the exact same match, but you know what I mean. They would wrestle here, and there. And when Gabe started up Ring of Honor, he got a hold of those guys and happened to be talking to Punk on the phone. And he said, I need to know some different guys. Who else is in the Midwest? And Punk and I were roommates at the time. And he said, well, there's my trainer, Ace Steel. And he goes, oh, I've heard of Ace. I've never seen him. That got me more of the opportunity of, that look at like, okay, you're in, let's go. And that's when Gabe had the idea for the Second City Saints to formulate after the Raven match, the tag match he was with Cabana and against Punk and I. I just watched that not too long ago, which just made me laugh. Just crazy. I really have no memory of it. I have no memory of it at all. But except for I had to watch it. I knew where it was, and so those things just trickled on and carried on. And what a time! Again, what a time to have such a hungry locker room.
And you think about it, Raven really put Punker on the map because right
Oh
after that
yeah.
feud, I mean, he just blew up. Everyone's like, "Wow, look at this guy! This guy's awesome. He can wrestle. He can talk. He's got a mouth on him. Like he was like perfect and the perfect antithesis of Raven because look at Raven. Raven, maybe drinking and drugging and all this other stuff, and he's straight edge and he's better than you. Even though somebody else stole that catchphrase recently, I won't say who, but I'm better than you, and you know it. It's CM
Yeah.
Punk used to say that. Yeah,
Oh, of course. Well, he's a big CM Punk fan.
yeah.
That Raven feud was just great stuff. I mean, I read a quote from Raven not too long ago. I think it was a few days ago because I thought about it, and how things just pop up and float up on the internet now. And I guess Raven commented on it saying because Punk put him over and said, I was married to Raven, so I learned so much about things. And Raven commented that he's like, wow, I really thought he just looked at me like I was just some grumpy asshole, you know, you got to do this, kid, you got to do that, kid, blah, blah, blah. He goes, but, that's, very flattering that he took what I gave him and then went on and then gives me credit for a lot of things. It's one thing I think you'll find with Punk, all the things he gives. If you listen to his Cauliflower Alley speech, it was really a heartfelt thing to the people. He talked a lot about Harley and that, but a lot about the people that paved the way for all of us to be doing what we're doing. But the people that specifically gave him like so much, and being excuse me, being married to Raven was huge for him. Like it was very odd at the time. I did TNA in the early days,
Yep.
and then Punk had gone the first time with me. I will dare say that he wasn't quite ready for prime time at that point. The showing wasn't as good. Flip flop till I wasn't working with with them anymore, and then he gets into the Raven thing where he's in. I can't remember what they were called. The Gathering,
Yeah.
the Flock. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't the Flock, but he was in Raven's new Flock version. But in Ring of Honor, he was feuding a Raven. So it was like I think they finally figured it out and got out of it,
Yep.
so they could make sense of it. But instead of just putting him against Raven, they're like, oh, let's put him together with Raven. I don't know who booked that way. I'm sure it wasn't quite Raven, but still, he got the chance to learn from him. He got to work Terry Funk on
Yeah.
an old TNA pay per view, like stuff like that. Like he had to work with a lot of different people back then. So yeah,
ROH too. He
just
got to work Funk.
Funk and ROH, like all that stuff. What a time! Like that. That's the way you learn. You work with to get to work with guys like that. Like I never worked with Terry. I never worked with Funk, working with Raven, but you listen, you hear things. Okay, I do this, I do that. All the great people I've gotten to work with, just you'd be silly not to latch onto that and build. And each one was a building block for him. Each one, just to get where he wanted to be.
Does Punk give you credit though? Because that's awesome for your resume. Hey, by the way, I'm a trainer. I also train one of the most popular guys, especially one of the most popular guys of the 2000s.
He does 100%. He does. He certainly did in his cauliflower speech. Um, we'd be, we're more buddies. We've just always been friends because as a coach back then, I wasn't in coach mode. Not now. We're like, I see somebody from the performance center, like, oh, coach. Like he doesn't call me coach. Like it just never was that way. But we were always. I've never had that demeanor about me, and I still kind of don't. Like I am your coach. No, he gives me a lot of credit. Always has. I mean, he gives me credit by just working and the things that are. It's the not. I always call it the unsolicited compliment. Like I'm not asking for it, and the back in the day, he just sent me a thanks for trading me when he's winning a world title. Stuff like that, like just insider stuff. That's way a long time ago, but
Right.
but now the credit for like things when we got to work together in the AEW days, just to finish up and do stuff and just look and just to shake hands and go, man, we made some good stuff tonight. As a producer for him, and he's always, he's not so big that he doesn't ask for ideas from everybody. You know, he turns around and says, "What do you think of this? Do you like this? Throw me an idea." And he might take it and use it, or he might not. It really depends. But no, yeah, he's given me so much credit. I will definitely take. I have on my. I have a video, a training video I had a couple of years ago, just for seminars, which I've now branded workshops. But um, I'll have that quote. It'll be up for the wrestling school, and use that same. I'll use the same endorsement because it was a perfect endorsement about giving him the foundation of professional wrestling, which is coincidentally the name of my school. But he used that term, the foundation in his endorsement for me. So no, there's him continuing and being happy in pro wrestling is just that's a huge endorsement to me.
I know we were saying this before we got on. I was saying that sucks that he got hurt because man, he was
Oh
like one of
yeah.
the reasons I kind of got back super rich. I mean, I was interested. I like Cody and the story and all sorts of stuff, but he really got me when he showed up at Survivor Series. I was pumped. I'm like walking out of the room. I think the show's over, and I hear that pop that music. I ran back in because they closed the show. I mean, they tricked me. The show.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like Michael Cole did this. See you next week, or whatever. And like that got me. So as soon as I heard he was at MSG, I'm like, oh my god, it's his first back match at MSG 10 years. I gotta go, and it was electric there. And the merch stand literally looked like it was like a riot happened, and they ransacked the merch stand. So
Wow.
he was huge seller that day, and there were so many. I mean, there was so much Punk shirts going in, the old ones and whatever. So
Hmm.
when he came back, I was so pumped that he was back. But then when he got hurt, I'm like, no, it just sucked.
Yeah, huge heartbreaker. I wanted to see him make that run to WrestleMania to the point where I kept thinking, should I go? I love watching wrestling from home because I don't have to see people bouncing in and out of me or, whatever. I'm sure I would have had great seats, but a great viewing, platform there, but, place to view it. But yeah, just a killer. All I can think about is the comeback is going to be even more special. You know, we have a nice reason for it happening. We have Drew McIntyre taking credit for it. Such a heel storyline,
Yep.
elevating Drew McIntyre to this just dirty son of a bitch that prayed for you to get hurt. Like, oh, what a line. They gave him that he now has a dragon to slay when he comes back. Like, I'm coming for you, I'm coming for your head. So when the time is right, the place is just gonna unload. And yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but he's on the comeback trail. He's been rehabbing, he's putting it up on Instagram. You're seeing him rehabbing like crazy. Like he will be back, and he won't come back less than 100%. That's for sure. He won't rush it. Nobody's rushing him back. They're giving him the time to heal. He will heal, and he'll come back even better. Because I can tell you what, he doesn't want to do just an in and out thing. He loves wrestling. He loves the sport. He loves where he's at right now. He loves just what he's doing. He loves the atmosphere. He just loves everything about it. So he's, you know, all systems are a go. And once his body is ready, once that arm is ready, and it's a crazy thing that it's not the same arm. I don't know if anyone's recognized it. It was his left arm the last time. This one was his right arm. So it's the opposite one. And shit like that happens. Like I tore a bicep out of nowhere, just tore it. It just snapped. And I'm like, wow, I guess after all this time in a wrestling match, and the left one almost went too. Like you got it, just somebody pulled on it, and I'm like, holy cow! Like we've got to, just our bodies, the wear and tear, and mind you, I haven't taken near the amount of bumps he's taken over the years. Um, but yeah, just unfortunate, but he'll be back. I'm excited for the comeback.
Me too. DM Hunk, as he's calling himself now, McIntyre. He's in trouble when Punker comes back. Yeah, just I don't know. McIntyre just doing a great job with it because even when Punk came out with the sling on, I thought that was great old school stuff. He stomped on the arm that was injured.
Yes, yes.
Everyone gasped, like, man, that's just perfect old school
Hmm.
storytelling. I love that stuff.
It still works. It still
Yes.
works.
Yep. That's why I love watching Punk wrestle too, because so many guys today they think like, oh, if I do, 10 Hurricane Ranas and whatever that Canadian destroyer, if I do a million of them, like I like his even when he's working Dom at SG, slow it down, the psychology, get some heat on Dom. You know what I mean? Like I just love that style much more than the just let's just do stuff for pops. I hate that stuff. Now, as far as Punk, like with his promos and stuff, like you're saying, ratings go up here, ratings go up there. AEW, obviously, the ratings were where they were. They were a lot higher than they are now. WWE, you could see his quarter hour ratings got up to 2 million. They're higher than the rest of the show plateauing. Even when he's cutting promos behind the scenes that maybe weren't really supposed to be promos, they're awesome, and people rewatch them and rewatch them and rewatch
Sure.
them. Where does he like learn the gift of gab? If you is that him? Is that something like you could actually teach in like promo class per se, or is that something like from here? Do you know what I mean? Or is that just coming out?
All the above. I mean, mainly it's from here, and it's his gift of gab. Uh, the one promo of my life that I cut that was, that I feel like I did super well on. Um, that's the only promo I cut that's ever been worth a damn. I feel like I can cut a better promo now than I could ever when I wrestled. I just never focused on that. That's always been in him. From studying a young Roddy Piper, from studying Piper from back in the day, and not the off the handle, coconuts, Roddy Piper, like the little goofiness of him, but just the way he talks and engages you on camera. It's him 100% because he can talk to you with conviction. He can speak to you, and it's a little bit of, dare I say, when Jake Roberts would just talk to you and he can look through
Mm,
the camera at you.
yep.
He's just watched the greats and he's learned from Dusty. He sat in promo class with Dusty. Down at OVW, Dusty come down and look at him, and he would tell me like, how's OVW today? It's like, oh, we had Dusty down. He's like, and he had worked with Dusty on the Indies.
Yeah.
So he like there's pictures he'll pull up and he's like, I'm like, when the fuck were you in a war games with? He's like, I was in with Dusty and there's Carino somewhere and
Yeah.
all this stuff. I was like, wait, and he goes, look, there's Harley in the corner. I'm like, what match was this? I don't remember any of this stuff. Of course, again, two different paths. We were still buddies, but we didn't,
Yep.
that's when he had gone to Philly and just started bouncing around. But, he said Dusty came to OVW once to look at him and said, this kid, Harley Race loves this kid. He loves this kid right here. That Harley Race loves your ass. And you just listen to Dusty, and there's so many great Dusty promos out there where he's not flip flopping, flying all over, where he's just speaking to you. Like, I mean, Punk has worked with the best guys and just learn from them and listen to them. Raven's promos were revolutionary with the quote the Raven ever when he reinvented himself and came into
Yep.
ECW. Those were revolutionary. All that stuff. Um, just every person that's ever touched his career has left that with him as he goes on, and he takes and learns, and not takes as in a greedy take. Like he takes what's given to him and moves on. Just like with Eddie Guerrero, just being touched by him for a moment with it in his career and dropping. He's just grabbed all of that and moved and moved and moved and studied, still studies.